to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning and welcome back into Inside the Game as Nate is showing off his Ireland.
You know what it is? Let's go! World Cup on the way. Sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm good. I'm collected.
Seems as Ireland has punched their ticket into the World Cup, and Nate here is very much excited about that. Didn't have that same excitement when the United States qualified for the World Cup.
we got selected to host. Yeah, I was actually freaking out in my house when I found that out.
I remember you being on camera going, "Woohoo! USA's hosting
Woo! Woo!
with 3 other nations."
Hey.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, congratulations to Team Ireland on punching their ticket into the 2026 World Cup here in North America. Oh, they beat Portugal. They didn't clinch? No, dude. There's lots of people who have qualified already. No, there's other qualifiers out there. Take a look at it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the field isn't set quite yet.
Yeah,
I
think
isn't. Oh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We'll just got to do a quick Google search. World Cup qualifier. I know they beat Portugal, but I thought that they qualified too, so that's why. I got excited about them qualifying. Okay, fair enough. I guess I haven't qualified yet. My bad, Nate. My bad. I may have got your hopes up. My bad.
I feel like they're on their way, but it's a good start at least. Yeah, I don't know if they're officially in quite yet. I know that's obviously a big win for their chances, but I don't think Ireland's officially qualified yet. I guess I'm curious as to what they still have to do to qualify, but what a fascinating game that was.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying right now that France obviously is qualified. Again, we'll have to keep an eye on this. I'm not sure how many teams have qualified or not. I know that there have been teams that have already qualified and are on their ready to go. The draw comes up here in less than 2 weeks, like 3 weeks. It's December the 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they gotta be. There's gotta be a lot of teams that have already qualified.
Yeah, well, and what's interesting is, so obviously the biggest storyline around that matchup was what happened with Ronaldo. And I don't know if you guys were really following along all that closely to that one, but he ended up getting sent off, delivered an elbow to Dara O'Shea. They were already down 2-0 in the second half at that point. I think we were past the 50th minute. But ends up giving an elbow to him. So what that means now is that Ronaldo will actually miss Portugal's final World Cup qualification match against Armenia on Sunday. Now, again, it is against Armenia, so I think even without Ronaldo, Portugal can still definitely run away with this matchup, but it is a must-win if they are to clinch an automatic qualification to next year's tournament. So I don't know what that means. If they don't win that game, maybe they're kind of like on the bubble. I don't necessarily know what that means.
Well, looking at this, there so far been 28 teams out of 48 that have qualified, obviously including Canada, Mexico, United States.
Okay.
You've got Iran, Japan, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Uzbekistan. They've all qualified. Africa is Algeria, Cape Verde, Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa, Tunisia. Europe is England and France. South America, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Uruguay, Bolivia, which they're saying is a playoff spot. So there might be a question mark with Bolivia. And then Oceania is New Zealand. Teams still competing. The final playoff spot is contested between Venezuela and another team. So Venezuela, I believe, and Bolivia are the ones that are going to battle it out for that one spot coming out of South America. Europe, there are 12 group winners and 12 run-ups will qualify with the remaining teams entering a playoff. So, obviously, with Ireland in that mix, go ahead.
For Ireland, they currently sit in third place in their group. However, they're a point behind Hungary.
Hey, he's got to turn his mic on. Turn your mic on, Ryan.
Number 1 qualifies in the group. Ireland is currently in third, so they're currently out of the World Cup as it stands. But if they beat Hungary, who's 1 point ahead of them, they could end up in the playoff for the World Cup. It looks like that if they
beat Hungary, they're 1 point ahead. So if they beat Hungary, wouldn't they be 2 points ahead at that point?
Yeah, they would be in the playoff. They'd be in second. They'd be in the playoff, but they're 3 points behind Portugal. So Ireland would have to most likely qualify the World Cup via the playoffs.
Okay.
Well, and here's the kind of the wrinkle that I was going to mention. So obviously I mentioned that Ronaldo's going to miss the game against Armenia, but FIFA regulations, this is where stuff gets interesting, states that any suspension and qualification matches will carry over to the final competition, with the FIFA disciplinary committee determining if a player should serve a suspension longer than one match. Quote, players and officials shall be suspended for misconduct as specified below at least 3 matches or an appropriate period of time for assault, including elbowing, punching, kicking, biting, etc. So finishing second in their group would see Portugal go into that playoff spot if they end up finishing second, which means he could serve that suspension Ronaldo could through that final playoff match. So, yeah, this could get real interesting real quick for him.
Yeah, I mean, was he red carded? I know he elbow, but was he red carded for violent conduct or serious foul play? We know.
I don't know. He got a red card, and he cried about it. So screw him. Ronaldo's a bum. Even if Ronaldo was out there, I don't think it would have changed much. The dude sucks now. And then he cries that the World Cup doesn't define him as a player, even though he said that, oh yeah, the World Cup is the most important thing to me. And then he loses it. Messi wins it. This doesn't define me. Shut up, Ronaldo. Shut up.
Well, again, it does matter. The reason why I ask if it's serious foul play, again, I didn't watch the game last night, so forgive me. But if it's serious foul play, which it seems like it's not, because an elbow would constitute not an action of playing the ball, and so that would be violent conduct, and that's where that 2 or 3 match that you're talking about would come into play, Nate. So yeah, he could very well, based on how many games they have left in qualifying, which I think it's like 1, right? Or is that the last one?
And then potentially the playoff. They have to win their next one to get in.
Okay, so you're looking at a minimum of 1 game, maybe 2 games left in qualifying. So if he would be banned, he would be out for the first game of the World Cup, possibly the second game if things don't go well, right? So,
because that matters.
Which would be his last World Cup, right? Because he's retiring. I would imagine. Yeah. So. Anyways, we got a lot to get to this morning. We have a lot to. The MLS made some announcements yesterday. We'll get into that this morning. And their announcements weren't just in regards to what we talked about here the last couple of days in regards to like the schedule and how they're going to align with the European schedule. There's some things in regards to their current streaming with Apple TV. We'll get into that as well. Is there anything else that we're going to talk about today other than the MLS whole deal here?
USA game tomorrow.
USA game tomorrow. That's right. They're playing Paraguay tomorrow, correct? So we'll get into that and so much more. You're watching episode number 190 this morning of Inside the Game. Right back.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
and start watching today.
Welcome back to episode number 190 here of Inside the Game. I'm Jonathan Turner alongside Nathan Wengler, Ryan Glinsky, our producer. Didn't get a chance to really introduce our lineup here of hosts and producers this morning, is Nate was so excited about Ireland that we had that going, so we had to let that go. But either way, we're excited to have you back here watching here on the National Soccer Network. Don't forget to subscribe, like us, and share this with your friends and family. We are live right now across every platform you can imagine here this morning. So let's dive into this. We're obviously, I think the better part of the latter part of the show should be in regards to what's going on here tomorrow night and coming up here on Tuesday. But we should definitely talk about MLS. That's going to be a bulk of our conversation here this morning.
Let's start with it. The MLS making some big money moves yesterday. They'll be changing its schedule to align with the European League. The owners voted on this yesterday. Their season will start in mid-July and end in May, along with a winter break from mid-December to mid-February. They did say that the decision day will be in April and the playoffs will be in May. MLS will run a shortened season in 2027, running in February to May. So in case you guys were a little bit concerned about how they were even going to set this up, that's what they're going to do. MLS Commissioner Don Garber said, quote, aligning our schedule with the top leagues will create better opportunities in the transfer market and make our cup final have center stage with no interruption, end quotes. And your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, well, we talked about this, right? Especially, I think, earlier this week, we talked about it as relation to the USL, right? And a lot of the changes or the conversation about changes being made have, I think, a lot more to do with what is upon the horizon here with USL coming in 2028. And so this is going to create some momentum for the MLS, because this is going to start not in 28, but in 27. And so was there any mention, I know we talked about the conferences, was there anything mentioned the conferences in this as well?
They're going to go to 5 geographical divisions, I think.
Yeah, so was that voted upon or no?
I don't think that's confirmed. I'll see if it is.
But so regardless, I mean, going to the European schedule is going to change things dramatically. And again, from a viewership standpoint, you're not competing the same, especially towards the end of the season when you talk about your cup, right? Your league cup and hoisting those trophies, where this would be a non-issue, right? You're talking about, I think the playoffs would be in May, right? So May through July. And so in this country, that's like the dead period, right? I mean, like...
No, the playoffs would end in May.
It would end in May.
It'd be the month of May.
Okay, so
ain't nothing. I guess NBA.
No, you got NBA. You've got NHL, which ends in June, right? And so you got start of baseball, but there's no football, right? You're not competing with football unless you're watching the UFL, which nobody's watching that. So.
They did not confirm any structural updates yet, so they are still working that out.
I'm curious how this will do, though, because a lot of times what happens during the summer, right? During the summer months, especially like in April, May. If it's not April, typically they have like those European teams will come across here and they'll play in big time stadiums, right? These tours. Yeah. Do you think that, because that's been a huge success here? Will that change?
No.
You think they're still going to come over here now?
I mean, if they don't have a season, there's more opportunity to play.
If who doesn't have a season?
That MLS won't be playing in the summer. Besides in.
No, I know that, but remember they would come over here and they'd have like their All-Star game would be like against a team from whatever in July.
I don't think no one really cares for the All-Star game.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, but a lot of times these European teams have come over here, they've traveled here during that period, and it's been right in the middle of an MLS season. Those things are happening, and so you're getting some different things. I'm just curious if we'll still see that. Is my question.
Well, if they start in mid-July, that's when they start kind of coming over here anyway. So it'll still be like they play their games in like NFL stadiums anyway.
I know.
So the
Big House was one of them here a few years back, right? They had it was a huge crowd.
I think you'll still see them come over here. I don't think that really plays a factor.
All right, fair enough. Nate, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say, right? The NFL doesn't allow any other sports league in the United States to breathe. It is its own entity. It has taken up all the market space. It dominates everything in the sports world. The National Football League is king, and it'll always be king. So if your League Cup can not run into football, I think that's a really good start for Major League Soccer. But we talked about this yesterday. Number one, I think it really does help with the transfer market. I think when you are creating something that more closely aligns with what Europe has, not only that, but, again, you're not running into this interruption of the schedules being off in one place or another. So I think it'll streamline that process. It'll make it a lot easier. It'll make it a lot, especially for players that are either going over or coming here. Either way, you're going to create a system that's more, able to actually accommodate them and easily versus, what you had maybe previously. But in terms of all the divisions, again, these are all small steps in the direction of changing the outlook and the structure and everything that is Major League Soccer. Because when you are the only major professional league in the country, which they have, not the only, okay, we've seen a lot of different pro leagues that have come and gone and, have done their thing, but have not really stuck around, at least to the level of being able to weigh on the MLS a little bit. All of this that we're seeing with the USL, as you mentioned, JT, is very different because this seems like the real deal now. So when you look at Major League Soccer, that's why they're making a lot of these changes. And it sucks that they had to have another league come along and kind of push them to do that, because a lot of these things that they're doing, and again, in increments, right? Like, you're not going to see them implement Pro Rel tomorrow, but they're slowly starting to move that direction and maybe preparing for something that looks of the sort, because they realize that it's about time to move that direction, especially when you have another professional league in your own country that is testing the waters with those things. And we see what the response has been from soccer fans. You have to do what you can in order to do something similar to stay competitive. Because if the MLS just sits back and throws their hands up, I have no problem in saying that the USL could easily overtake the MLS. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not a week or a month or a year from now, but somewhere on down the line, if the USL is able to successfully create a more authentic product, which I think is the direction in which they're moving, and clearly they've put the right people in the right places, as we've seen, the MLS is going to have a hard time if they don't do anything to switch up what they're actively doing right now. And so that's why we're seeing all these changes. I think it's all good. I don't really see any bad coming of it. So I think personally that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, we talked about this obviously earlier too, right? In USL with their announcement, they're trying to I think grab the emotional aspect of the fan experience into their world, right? And if you can take 10-15% of a fan base or from the MLS, 5%, what does that look like to their league? I mean, this is a league that in the USL had 3 million, I think, total. I think 3 million watch their games this year or go to their stadium. So I mean, like,
3 million per game. Yeah,
not 3 million per game. They had 3 million in totality, I think, between in the USL. Like, so, or maybe whatever that was. There was it was a 3 or 4 or 5 million, and compared to obviously what the MLS has, and so it was a significant difference, probably close to maybe 50% less, 60% less of what the MLS has as far as their total viewership. And so if you were trying to get that fan base to come over to your league, one way to do that would be to create something that they currently don't offer, which the fan base wants and craves. I also argue that the fan base of the MLS is probably not the same fan base of Premier League.
No.
You know what I mean? I again, if you're a diehard...
You don't think they watch both?
I don't think that...
I don't watch both.
I don't know, man. I think your diehard like soccer fans who grew up watching the EPL are not diehard MLS fans. I think they would go to. I think they would go to a game. I think that they would absolutely go to a game.
That's what I'm saying. But if they live in like a major city, maybe I don't know. Maybe they still support. Maybe they still.
Well,
go.
we got Ryan. He's got his hand raising over here. Let's go ahead. Raise your hand.
I know he does it, Ryan. You're one guy. Come on, man.
So I'm a good example of Premier League and diehard soccer fan, and I will tell you, the majority of the diehard soccer fans that I'm friends with or know, they don't watch the MLS. They just watch the European game. Like, I have Man City friends or Man City fans, Manchester United fans, Liverpool, Chelsea. Like, every single team is represented. Tottenham even. Like, every single team is represented, but they do not watch the MLS. Wow, you're way to break something over there. But no, it is. Everyone just watches the European game, and that's where the better talent is. That's where the better games are, and that's and I also think there's this little appeal to a lot of people. What's one on the sports calendar? What is one thing that's never interrupted by the NFL? That is March Madness. Why do people like March Madness? It's because they get to watch games at work. What happens in the European soccer game is they get to watch all these big games, these Champions League games at work, and like they constantly send pictures like to me, and I send them back, vice versa. So that's another reason why they like it. But no, the majority is they don't watch the MLS; they just watch the European games.
Again, I'm not going to sit here
about
and say all.
Go ahead.
I think that, like, again, I think there's a lot of people out there that love college football and will watch the NFL, but love college football over the NFL. I think there are. Do I think that they intermix? Yes, I do. But do I think that there's a subsect of the football fan that only watches college football? Yes, I do. Same thing with college basketball, right? They don't watch the NBA at all, but they only watch college basketball. Like college basketball season comes around, they're paying money to go watch games. They're watching them on TV. They're all in. Yeah. They don't watch any NBA whatsoever. There's a subsect of fan that's like that. So I don't want to put like soccer fans in this big thing where they're like, oh, we all watch all things soccer. I don't think that's the case at all. I think there's a shit ton of Detroit City FC fans. It's all they do is go to watch Detroit City FC fans. They're involved in the USL Championship because that's where their team plays, but don't give a shit about any other team across the country and won't watch any other soccer.
I think that's also right.
Right. So I think that there is a group of soccer fans, and to be fair, it's probably the younger, maybe the player out there who's 15 years old, who's playing club soccer, wants to be in the MLS one day with mom and dad. That kid's probably a huge fan of the MLS because he could play there one day, and he's also a fan of the EPL. But and then again, there's your local fan who loves all things Detroit, loves all things Cincinnati, right? I'm a Reds fan. I don't know why, other than you live in Cincinnati, right? I mean, like
the Bengals suck too.
So I think that's a true thing. So all those things can be true at the same time, but I don't know if you're pulling in an EPL fan, you're pulling them in because someone loves the way the EPL is structured, like love the parity that takes place, right? Which Ryan's talking about. And so, aligning with the calendar is great, and that's gonna help with transfers and things like that. But what USL is doing with their pro rel, and if they again can pull that off, I do believe that they will attract an EPL audience. They'll come over and watch, right? And then you're going to have this 10 or 15% of the MLS who are EPL fans are going to go, going to kind of gravitate towards that league a little bit. And I think you're going to lose, some market share in that for sure. But again, I also think that the way this is shaping up, that it almost seems like the MLS is going to be doing something here in the next couple of years. They haven't made any. There's something that's going to come out of this, and other than just divisions, I have this inkling that we're going to start to see something happening in the MLS Next Pro world, where these MLS Next Pro teams could also create pro rel.
All I'm saying is I think this arms race in American soccer is actually really good for the sport. It might create a lot of confusion. It creates this kind of Wild West mentality where it's like you still don't really understand. Like there's a structure of soccer in the United States, but really outside of those two leagues, like it's just like it's a who's who of who knows from sea to shining sea. Like there's leagues all over the place. But this between the USL and the MLS and even the organizations and the franchises within the USL who are competing, obviously continuing to build up bigger buildings or bigger stadiums, I should say, and getting ready to make that leap into the top level in the USL. I think it's good. I think it's attracting more people. I think it's creating more buzz around the two different leagues. And like I said, hats off to the USL for putting pressure on the MLS because it's forcing them to change. But I think another thing that's worth noting, at least when it comes to switching the calendars to be at the same time, not that it'll ever be as big as football, we know this, but like the whole Saturday, Sunday thing with college football and the NFL has been the greatest thing for that sport ever. I mean, like, exactly what you're getting every weekend, right? Saturday, you're getting the college game. Sunday, you're getting NFL. Now, obviously, the NFL has changed, as we explained that earlier, because at some point it's going to be, games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That will happen at some point because that's just the kind of league that they are. But the whole Saturday, Sunday thing is great because you know what you're getting, right? You know exactly what to expect. It's all at the same time. It's all during the same time. So I tend to believe at the same time too, JT. I think there's people out there who could be fans of both, especially if they live in a major city and they've been going to games growing up. Now I can't say that for everybody, but I don't know. I think it'll create a more preferable viewing experience.
I'm a hometown sports fan, and so that means that I would never in a million years root for the Green Bay Packers. Right? It would never happen. I would never root for Chicago Bears. Right? I don't care. Where they're playing, who they're playing, it doesn't matter to me. Now, there might be a scenario where if you're talking about, hey, I need to win the division, and the Chicago Bears have to beat the Packers or whatever. Now you're saying, I'm not rooting for Chicago, but I'm rooting for that win so we get the division champion. So it's a little bit of a different thing. But there is something to be said about that. If you live in Cincinnati, you live in Louisville, you live in L.A. I mean, L.A.
Why would you live in Ohio?
You got two choices, in L.A., right? I mean, so for the MLS at least, and so
every team, every sport has two teams in LA and New York.
Well, I'm talking about MLS though. I'm not talking about.
Okay.
But again, I'm like, if you live in these cities, and you love soccer, well, yeah, you're going to gravitate towards being a fan of the LA Galaxy or LAFC. That's what's going to end up happening. I mean, and then there's the women's side, right? Then the same thing's true there. But then again, now that peel back that layer a little bit, right? And you start peeling it back and saying, okay, what are they really a fan of? Are they a fan of the team or are they a fan of the game of soccer? Because if they're a fan of the game of soccer, now there's a whole another level to this. There's a reason why, and it's not just because of transfer portals. It's or transfer windows. It's not just because of that. I said portal, but transfer windows. It's not just because of that. They are the MLS is doing this right now because they see this target on their back. They see this target coming, and it's coming from Tampa, Florida, right? That's where it's coming from, and the USL, and they see it, and they're aware of it. And how do you address it? What do you do? Well, then because they've known this, they've known about this for how long now? 2025, the MLS finally figured out that the transfer window and like having the calendar align with the European game is, like, do we lose internet or something?
No. No,
Inactivity.
We're good. No, we're good.
But I mean, like, do you think all of a sudden, like, they've known this for 25 years. They've known about this. Nothing is new, and now they're doing this because the USL is breathing down their neck, and then the conferences, like these divisions too. If this even happens again, what does this do? It allows for these teams to be more successful and to have more parity, because again, there's more parity in smaller numbers. Right? You look at that, the parity that takes place in a 5-team division or a 4-team division, significantly different than that of a 14-team division. You know where the top 7 teams go? No, I mean, every year we know that in the NFC North there are 4 teams that are battling it out for the division. Right?
If we're being realistic, it's like 3. The Bears never count.
Yeah,
but again, that parity is real. And we don't have that in the MLS. What parity do you have? Decision day? I mean, like, we got with the 7th place team is fighting with 3 other teams who are 8, 9, and 10 to get into that last spot. Like, no. I mean, that's not the parity that we want. What we want is the parity in the division, right? We have that division. We want that division. So I think all these things are great for the MLS. I think it's going to make MLS a stronger overall product, and it's going to make them competitive against the up and coming USL that's got this target on their back.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other question is, like, when it comes to parity too, I do like the idea of divisions. I really do, to kind of break it up and create that system. But like, also, you still have teams like Miami, right? You still have Major League Soccer who's willing to go out of their way to attract top end players to come. And they kind of created what they tried to create was the super team in Miami, because they realized, if they got Messi, and then, now they got a couple of other players. So, I mean, that's something that's uniquely American, because you look at the other major leagues, like, we always have like 2 or 3 teams, I feel like, in every single league that you're like, all right, there's pretty good chance that they're going to be at the end of the line. I think of the Dodgers, obviously, in baseball. Like, them winning the World Series is not a shock to anybody's system in the world. Like,
great series,
honestly. Great series. No one cares. Sorry. The Dodgers won the World Series. All right, cool. They should win the World Series. Like, that's expected of them. The NFL is the same exact way. Well, it was more previously. I don't know if the Chiefs are really a far and away favorite. You could say the Eagles, but I feel like in every single league you look at, you got 2 or 3 teams at the very top that definitively you're like, all right, they will go. And honestly, it creates more sales and more attention and more eyeballs for the league, because I've talked about it before, like creating the supervillain. And I do genuinely believe that the league sometimes gives a little bit of preferential treatment to their their top end squads that bring them the most revenue. So, yes, parity, but also I don't think the MLS is afraid to really lean into that aspect of it and creating one like super team that draws all the eyeballs, because that's where a lot of their storylines come from, and they're just trying to get more eyes on the MLS. So the system in which they're creating might create more parity, but I still think there's a uniquely American side to MLS, and it remains, and it's because of their willingness to, we're going to do anything we can, which I understand it, but to get the top end players to come to our league. And if they all want to play on the same team together, cool, awesome. Now we got our team that we're going to push out to everybody and, put them in the Club World Cup. And then obviously they got smacked around a little bit, but they did win a game or two, I think, or one. I don't know. I don't remember, but something else to keep in mind.
Yeah. And again, I think that when we look at what's going on with Apple TV, right? And so, it was announced also as part of this that the MLS Pass is going away. I think that pass was like $60.
It was like a month, I think.
It was some, maybe it was even more than that. But I know from T-Mobile, I got it for free. So being I'm a T-Mobile customer, I got that pass for free. I never actually took advantage of that pass. I should have, but I never did. But now they're saying it's going to just be part of Apple TV's monthly subscription. So if you have an Apple TV subscription and you pay the $14.99 a month, that's included. MLS is included in that now moving forward. So that's a huge win for the viewer, because before you were paying for Apple TV and then you had to pay for the pass. And again, I think the pass was like $60 or $70, whatever it was super expensive to go watch the soccer games. I mean, so this makes it more easily viewable for the viewer at home, and which is what you want. You want things to be accessible. And so these two things hand in hand are big wins for the fan here in the United States, and the viewer and those who love watching the game of soccer.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's making it more accessible. But obviously the question on the back end is like, does that drive up the price of Apple TV? Like, someone is going to end up paying somewhere along the line. Like, I don't. When I'm reading this, and I saw exactly what it was, and I was reading up on it this morning and what exactly the agreement was, and this is something that is a conversation going on across sports circles, and I tend to agree that streaming services are absolutely destroying sports. Like, it's absolutely destroying the viewership experience of watching these games because of how many different streaming platforms. I mean, you think Peacock, you think Paramount, you think Apple TV, you have all these different places that you can watch games. And again, you have to sign up for a subscription, or you have to pay a certain fee. Like, it's ridiculous. But I know that they're going to include the rest of those MLS games. So it's going to actually make it more accessible to people to watch. But I don't know, it's going to drive up some sort of price somewhere along the line, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, though, right?
I mean,
and at this point, I mean,
nothing in life is free, right?
Huh?
Nothing in life is actually free, right?
No,
like,
but here's the thing, though, right? There for the viewer out there who did not want to pay the $79 and $99 extra for the MLS Pass.
Yeah,
they're now are going to be able to, again, if they don't have Apple TV and now decide they want to pay for it, right? Because they get all the things plus MLS, you're going to increase your viewership for those things. So I think the person who didn't want to pay that $99 fee is going to absolutely want to do it now, at least for those 4 or 5. Well, now what is it? It's going to be what's the season again? It's going to be November. Sorry.
When it'll start?
Yes.
Mid-July with a break in December through February, and then wrap up in May.
Okay, so you're going to have the pass for what, 7 months? 6 months?
Unless you don't renew it for the month of
well, you could absolutely not do
that.
That's the beauty of you can not have it. So I guess the pricing might end up being the same, but if you aren't currently an Apple TV subscriber, but if you are, this is a win for you because you're not paying the extra $90 now to watch your team, and so that's a huge deal. Let's do this. Let's take a break. We come back here. We can continue this conversation and start talking about the U.S. men's national team game here coming up here tomorrow night against Paraguay.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back to Inside the Game here on this Friday, November the 14th, episode number 190, currently underway here on the National Soccer Network and Sports Nation TV. And we're joined obviously here by Nathan Wengler, myself, Jonathan Turner, and Ryan Glinsky, our producer. We're talking MLS here this morning, and obviously the breaking news that took place here yesterday. The owners voted to create a brand new aligned season with that of the European across the pond leagues. Again, for what we believe, to increase the popularity of the sport here, specifically MLS here in this country, as well as create opportunities for an easier transfer of players from across the pond and vice versa. So let's continue this conversation. The question I have right now for both of you is, with this decision, what happens with the MLS specifically in this country? Do we truly believe that the MLS will become a much stronger and better overall league because of this? Or does it, or with the USL and being obviously right at their heels right now, does this have the impact that we think it could, or is business as usual, just a couple changes?
The impact itself comes from the players that you bring to the league. The impact itself comes from who you're able to get to convince to come play in Major League Soccer. You're not going to get the top-end players at the top of their game to come to the MLS. That's not going to happen. But we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago about Major League Soccer attempting to attract players to come to their league after the 2026 World Cup, like trying to attract American players to come back to Major League Soccer. You guys already mentioned the impact of the first one in 1994, right? It literally started our own professional league. You know, Alexi Lala said the proudest moment of his professional playing career was when he got on the plane and came back to the U.S. to play in this country. And I tend to think that there are other players that would like to see the United States really take that next step in the soccer ethos, the football ethos in the world. And where that comes from is getting top-end players or maintaining top-end players. That's really where it comes down to for Major League Soccer. That's the only really leak in the boat right now, if you will, because they have the money, they have the facilities. It's clear to me that the viewership ratings continue to go up. We talked about where it stacks up amongst the top sports. You know, it's already further along than hockey. You are getting more viewers and more engagement in your games than you're getting in the sport of hockey in the United States. I can't stress how much that actually says, because I believe we're one of the top playing hockey countries in the world. Outside of Canada,
is that problematic because of so many games? I mean, like, let's be honest. We talked with Ryan about this.
Maybe
you know,
that plays
you got 82 games in hockey?
Yes.
So, you know, a fan might go, I can miss a couple. I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, the
I'm
Major
not
League
gonna
Soccer
watch that
season's
one.
longer though, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't the Major League Soccer at least lengthwise?
Well,
like, in
it
terms of the-
starts in like March, like late February, early March, and it goes all the way until now, right? So December is when like the cup. I think the cup takes place like sometime in December,
right.
right? So what is that? That's 10 months. Hockey starts in September, goes till June.
But you got to admit, I think soccer has a far larger reach than hockey.
But
does.
there's
I
only
mean, I
like
realize
one
the
game
South
a
is
week,
getting better at
maybe
hockey.
two when you get to the into it. So I mean, you're only watching
Fair.
40 games, give or take.
That's fair.
I mean,
But all this to be said, it comes down to the players that you're able to get attracted to the league, creating divisions, creating something that maybe closely, changing the schedule around. All that is great. But the reason why, and this is again goes back to what Ryan was talking about. I'm assuming the reason why Ryan and all of his buddies love watching the EPL as opposed to watching the MLS has everything to do with the players that are in the game. I mean, maybe a little bit to do with pro rel and the authenticity of it, but it has to do with the fact that they have the best players in the world. And so what it comes down to for Major League Soccer, do you have enough buying power, convincing power, whatever it may be, to actually nitpick, go out and get a few top-end players to come to your league after the conclusion of the World Cup, whether they be American or not? I think that's where it starts if you want to really, again, continue to climb that way.
I don't know. And again, I can't speak to this, but growing up, I didn't know about the EPL to the extent that I do now because it wasn't readily available. I mean, you might be able to catch a game here or there, but for the most part, it wasn't here. And I wasn't aware of it at that point in my life. But Ryan obviously grew up on it. Ryan, did you grow up watching the EPL out of a love for a player, or was it just the appeal of that league? Just is what gravitated towards that.
This is a dumb story. So what actually gravitated me to the EPL was I watched the 2010 World Cup, fell in love with Messi, but I never really watched, I never really followed it. I just I thought that soccer was only like the international game. Like that's what I thought it was. Then I happened to go to the Canton Cup down in Canton, Michigan, and we get into this little tent with all the jerseys, and there's an Arsenal jersey with it's like Michigan colors. It's kind of maize and blue, and then there's a cannon on the logo. And my dad fell in love with that because he works in defense. And it became this perfect storm, and we started searching it up. And we're like, wow, this team's in England. Let's watch a couple games. Because at that time, ESPN, after the college football season, would air all their games on ESPN in the morning on Saturdays and Sundays. And then Fox would do it too. Like Fox and ESPN had these games all the time on the weekends. So we just started watching it. No one really gravitated me, not a specific player. It was just the sole fact that the logo and the jersey color scheme gravitated to. And then obviously it all kind of just grew, and everyone on my club team that, I grew up with all kind of had their own team. And I will say, though, the middle school and high school years of Arsenal really, it killed me at the lunch table. I won't lie. But no, it was... what gravitated me was the color scheme and the logo. Like no player gravitated me at all. It's a stupid story, but yeah, that's what happened.
It's
everybody,
stupid.
Everybody falls in love in different ways, especially with sports, man, or teams. It's always colors sometimes. I've noticed that, or uniform combos.
I actually, when I was in Florida for a family trip, and we went to a flea market, and they were selling like NFL hats.
Flea market.
And I know, right? But this hat was like $5. And I'm shame on me. I'm going to announce this on the air right now. It was a Green Bay Packer hat. But it was black and yellow. I mean, it was like the colors were like fire, and I was like, I want that hat.
It's like the Yankees hat.
Everybody My son wears a
damn
hat. Yankees hat, and
yeah,
so it's like,
doesn't even like the Yankees. It's just fashionable. It's just black and white.
I know, like the LA Dodger hat, the LA Dodger blue and white hat, right? That's like a staple. You got to. Cool. I've never worn one. We'll never wear one, but I understand why there's an appeal.
Yes, yes,
right. I understand the appeal. So, but anyways, I think it's important to understand that. I think that the soccer fan who maybe watches the EPL might not be a soccer fan at all and only loves the environment in which that game brings them. And so, again, going into the bar on a Saturday morning, grabbing a beer, having your breakfast, and watching an EPL game. Those are things you don't get anywhere. I mean, you get that sometimes in the tailgating experience of a college football game. And that's probably the most comparable thing, right? The tailgating experience that you get at a football game is very similar to the same experience you're going to get in a bar with a bunch of rowdy soccer fans.
To your point, John, in college, my sophomore year of college, we took probably a group of like 10 of us took a trip to Windsor, Canada. And downtown Windsor, Canada was this bar called the Manchester. And the Manchester was a soccer-themed bar, which is now closed down, sadly. But some of them weren't soccer fans, and we're like, let's go to the Manchester at 10 a.m. and we knew that there were soccer games on, but like then the other people that didn't know about soccer were like, dude, this is pretty sweet. Like you just get drunk at 10, 11 a.m. to watch soccer. Like this is what's happening. And another story was we were there so long and drank so much that the owner just started giving us free stuff. So that was pretty sweet.
That'll happen. 10 a.m., man. That's rough. That either sets you up for success or failure. If your team loses, that's going to be a rough day. That's going to be a rough day.
You can say the same thing about college football.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, games are at noon. You're drinking by 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You
go
to a Lions game at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Those people are tailgating at 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's why 3:30 is the best kickoff time, by the way.
Well, yeah,
Hey,
because
for
you
the
get to
rugby,
sleep in a little bit, get out there around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And then you're
For
not
the rugby match, I had mimosas at 10 a.m. So I mean, we were ready.
And then after the game, it's not so late where like you can still do something in the evening if you want to. But no, 3:30 is the best kickoff. That's why I love it.
By the way, I don't drink anymore, but if you were to do an early morning drink, there's something called the breakfast shot where you take orange juice and it's peach schnapps with a cooked bacon right in the cup.
Oh, that sounds gross.
Yeah,
Dude,
I've had one of those.
It is fire. I'm telling you right now, if you like breakfast, a little bacon in there,
Kicks like a
boom.
mule.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Can I do it on the
Tastes great,
show?
but man, that woo.
Yeah, yes,
that
you
legal?
can.
Can we do that on the show? Okay.
Let's talk U.S. men's national team. They're facing off tomorrow night against Paraguay. That kickoff is scheduled for 2 o'clock tomorrow. 2 o'clock Eastern Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Super Bowl Park is where it'll be playing tomorrow. Again, you can watch it on TNT, HBO Max, Paramount. Look
at that young Tyler Adams, by the way. That's 2018 photo I found.
Wow.
And that's
Nice.
Miguel Almiron.
Well, there you go. So,
right.
but they're playing tomorrow. We talked about do we care earlier this week, and I think it's part of last week we talked about does winning matter in this window? Well, I think Nathan, you alluded to the fact that the last window was more important for winning. What's the most important thing about this window that we'd be paying attention to?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I still think it's really important. I think Gio Reyna is the number one player I'm looking at, or the most important thing. How does he do in this window? Wanted to say very quickly, happy birthday, Gio. Belated birthday. It was yesterday, so celebrating his birthday. I don't know, 23 years old now?
Yes.
Getting old, man. He's getting up there. Jeez, 23? Goodness gracious. Playing on the international team, that's not too bad. But anyways, so happy birthday, Gio. But there was a really good quote from Mauricio Pochettino that I was reading up on yesterday. Quote, "We are going to make it very clear in Reyna's case that the past is the past. Now we give the opportunity to this guy to show that he's more mature and behave in a way that we expect, and then go out and perform." Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. Well, here it is. I don't care what happened in the past. Gio's a young guy. We can't say this guy or another needs to disappear because he didn't behave. We always need to give the chance, but now it's up to him. I don't care about the past, but I think it's important to give everyone an opportunity. So when I look at this window, I think looking at how Gio Reyna plays, if he's able to perform, if he's able to come through and score a goal or do something that really kind of wows, now he puts himself in the conversation. But I like that mentality from Mauricio Pochettino, right? Like everything's on the table. What he did in the past is past. Like we have the World Cup coming up. So we can't really not exhaust avenues right now. We can't not try out things as we're getting ready because we don't have to worry about qualification. We've had all this time to test out these different combinations, these different players, see how they perform. Can Gio Reyna take someone's spot on this team? I wouldn't like seeing Diego Luna go, but if Gio Reyna can prove that past is past and that what he did at 18 years old once upon a time, is in the past and he can conduct himself differently, I think all of this changes drastically. And we've seen players embrace him. We saw a quote recently from Christian Pulisic. Obviously, we saw that quote from Mauricio Pochettino. So that to me tells me that he has learned from those mistakes. He's not going to be a cancer anymore. And if he fits into this culture, I still think he's a good player. I just don't think he's recognized his potential specifically on the international level. So what can Gio Reyna do in this window, I think is very important to me, not only as a fan, but as an analyst too.
Do you think that it's real easy for Pochettino to make that statement, though? I mean, he wasn't involved in it. I don't know what his history's been like when he's had players and there have been issues.
Who cares if he was involved in it or not?
Well, I'm just saying that I'm asking this question. He was not involved in the situation at all, so it's real easy for someone who was not involved in it to say that, right? Had he been involved in it, has he had a history of players who have done, stupid stuff and caused him grief? Do those same players get the second chance he's talking about? I'm not disagreeing that Gio gets his second chance. I'm just saying it's real easy for a coach who wasn't involved in that shit to say, yeah, I'm gonna give this guy a second chance because it didn't affect me. But if it affected him, would he have given him the same chance? It's my point. I'm just asking that for the sake of TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. I guess I don't know what you're asking.
Well, you're telling me that you as a person, as an individual, have been scorned, right? You've been scorned. You've whatever. Do you give people second chances, or do you write people off?
Yeah, I give people second chances if they deserve second
But have
chances.
you? But again, have you? We're talking about what happened in that World Cup, and we talk about Gio Reyna. What happened in that World Cup was an embarrassment to everybody. And not only did what happened with Gio Reyna, like the whole thing came out with this Berhalter and his. And like this thing with like an assault that happened too, that was also leaked by the Reyna family. Like all that happened in that time period. And so if Berhalter was still the coach, right, Reyna, I would imagine, would not be anywhere near this roster. All right, and so I think it's, again, when I say that, Pochettino being in this position, it's real easy for him to say this because he wasn't involved in it. But, had he been involved in it, had it been one of his players that did this to him and he was still coaching this team, would he have the same sentiment? Would he be making the same statement? And that's my only question, is because I don't think Pochettino's a guy that he doesn't beat around the bush. He's pretty firm. I think he would. I find the statement to be, while it's acceptable, it's great. I think it's awesome. But if you've been in that same position, would he make that same statement? I don't think he would. I think he'd backpedal.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but hypothetically speaking, maybe, sure. But I mean, the fact that he wasn't involved in it, I think might be irrelevant when we look towards the 2026 World Cup. He wasn't a part of it. Greg Berhalter, we can't take all of the pressure off of Greg's shoulders. I realize we want to focus on Gio Reyna, and obviously the parents and the helicopter parents are really a problem. And when we've seen that, and hopefully that doesn't play a role coming up, and obviously we know who his dad is. So we know why, some of that ended up being the way that it is, but we can't take all the pressure off of Greg Berhalter's shoulders in this situation. Yeah, I mean, it takes two to fight, and with him being in the position he was and the way he mishandled that roster and that team, he's doing great in the MLS. Good, congratulations, Greg.
Wait, you're saying that, and I'm just asking because it's good to know. You're saying that the decision that Greg Berhalter made to not play or whatever it might be in regards to Reyna, even though he's on that roster, Greg bears the responsibility of how Gio reacted to not being on that team and playing?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, that's kind of what you alluded to, though.
But the fact that he didn't play him is one thing, but everything that came afterwards, yeah, I mean, it kind of takes two to tussle, right? Like, he mismanaged that situation big time.
Yeah, it's my understanding that he just kept his mouth shut. I don't think Greg Berhalter said a single thing.
Well, when it's about you and something happened in the past, he's not going to say anything.
No, I meant generally during that moment. I don't think that Berhalter was even trying to address it. I think he was just like, hey, and I think that was more of he tried to internalize it. It became a public thing somewhere else. So again, if I'm just going off my memory from when this thing happened, 4 years ago.
I will say this. I mean, he had a hothead kind. Is a hothead? No, I don't want to say that's the right word, but he had to deal with Dele Alli for a little bit, and if you ever get a chance to listen to his story, it's a sad one, and definitely something that you should look into. And what he had to deal with, I thought was really impressive in Dele Alli. But Dele Alli, before this whole thing that's come out over the years is at the time Pochettino had to deal with Dele Alli a little bit. He was a little bit of a hothead. He's a really good, young, talented player, but he was a little bit of a kind of a loose cannon a little bit in terms of what he would do, off the field and all that fun stuff. But Dele Alli, he constantly got minutes. He constantly played a ton, and I'm not saying Dele Alli and Gio Reyna are the same player, because they're definitely not. Dele Alli was way better in his prime than Reyna probably ever will. But at the same time, Dele Alli was given second chances. He gave Tottenham a lot of players second chances, like even when they'd mess up, and he built that team with a young squad. So he's proven he has a track record that he's going to give some players a second chance. And wasn't Pochettino the manager of PSG at some point too? And
Ryan, I think what you're saying is great, but again, if we're talking about it from the standpoint of talent and your abilities,
he managed PSG with Neymar and all them. He's giving people second chances. Look at the people he's had.
Guys, we aren't gonna. If you're talking about a 19, 20, 21st player on a roster, it's not the same thing as your top 11 or your top 2 players in the world. You cannot put those in the same comparison. A coach, and as terrible as this sound, is paid to win. And so if you have a cancer in your locker room who happens to be 20th on your roster, they aren't getting second chances. Now, the player who's 4th or 5th, they're going to get a million second chances because they give you a better chance to win. And even your players who are in the locker room who hate that player are going to say, yeah, I want him on the field.
Such a steep fall off from the rest of that roster.
Sorry?
You really think Gio Reyna, you really think Gio Reyna is such a steep fall off from the rest of that men's national team roster?
If he is not in your top 18, absolutely he will not get that second chance. There is not a coach on earth that would give a cancer a chance on the spot.
He has a chance to fit in the top 18.
Huh?
You don't think he has a chance to fit in the top 18?
I was talking about 2022. As far as right now, no. As of right now, no. Does he have a chance as of right now? He does not have a chance as of today to make the top 18 on this roster. No doubt.
Really?
No, okay. I don't think he's making the 26.
So
that's a bold call, but
it's not bold at all. It's not. It's absolutely not bold.
It's very bold.
Gio Reyna. Look at this time right now. It's currently the 14th of November.
Yes.
If Gio Reyna does not perform well in this window, if he does not get clear minutes, this player, he will not be on this roster.
That's why I said it's important to watch him play in the window.
But I'm also telling you. But again, I'm sitting here telling you, he's not on the 18. He's not an 18. He's not on the 18 right now.
That's bold. That's all I'm saying. That's a very bold
I don't know how that's bold. We haven't seen him for like a year on this roster.
To what Nate's saying is it's the most important thing to see, because what are we looking for in this window from the U.S. is we have to see how Gio Reyna plays. And
but right now he's in 18 to 26. He's not in the 18 at all.
But the best part is our top players are not here. Pulisic's not here. Adams isn't here.
Absolutely,
they're
great.
not here.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Who is going to step up? Who is going to be that depth piece? That's what I'm looking for in this window is how does our depth
do? But that wasn't the question put in front of me. He said if he's not making the top, he's not making the top 18. It ain't going to happen.
So if he's our best player, if he is our best player in this window. Yeah.
I still don't think he makes top 18.
That's crazy. If he's our best
player.
He
hasn't participated on this team at all. You're going to tell me a 2-game window is going to decide that? To be fair, I think this is a charity pick right now. That's what I think this is. I think that Pochettino is doing this only for the charity of the moment, not because of what he's doing.
That you just said that he doesn't beat around the bush and he's super firm. I don't think he would do a charity case at this point.
Well, you don't. You have to bring players in.
Hold on. You take multiple episodes to say we're not good enough, we're not deep enough, we don't have enough good players, and now you're going to sit here today and go, we don't need Gio Reyna.
I didn't say we don't need Gio Reyna. You said top 18. He's not a top 18 player.
What? Now you're saying we got depth and we got our 18 figured out. You said we have career.
We already been talking about the fact that our 18 are figured out. We've been talking about right now that Coach Pochettino is trying to figure out 19 through 26. We've been talking about that for the better part of 6 weeks now. Our top 18, your top 18 right now, Gio Reyna is not in it. He's not in it. He's not showing up right now in game day fit, ready to go. Ain't going to happen. Now, tomorrow he'll be top 18, but and on Tuesday he'll be top 18. But for the World Cup roster, not right now. Not happening. I think I can't believe I even think this is bold. He has not been on a single roster. Not been on a single roster in almost a year for the U.S. men's national team, maybe even longer. And now we're going to say he's like a lock-in for the 18? How is that a bold statement? I'm confused how this is bold for me.
It has to do with the history of what happened with him. That's why we're talking about this right now. That's why he's getting a second chance.
He's getting a chance right now.
exactly
You're
why.
telling me that Pulisic, Adams, all these players who are currently not on the roster right now because of injury, that Gio Reyna would actually be given this chance right now? Does anyone actually think that to be the case? You actually think that right now, based on where we are from the World Cup, that if we didn't have these injuries right now on this roster, if everyone was healthy, we wouldn't be seeing those players right now, and Reyna wouldn't have made this roster? Answer that question for me, guys. Do we believe that? Based on what we've seen so far this entire summer.
I think they genuinely think that he can still make an impact, and I do too. I just we haven't seen him, so how can we come to a conclusion on what he can do on the national team?
So
He's
we've
still
seen
rostered in
Luna
one of the
all
top
summer
leagues in
long,
the
who we
world.
think that Luna is less than Reyna. Right? We think that Luna is less than Reyna. We've seen Luna all summer long.
Head-to-head,
We have seen him time and time again, but yet he continues to get roster spots every single window. Reyna has not.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit here with Nate because I know it's his guy, but I personally don't rate Luna. I don't. I don't think he's a good story.
No,
and
I like Diego Luna. I don't think he's one of the
No,
top.
Like, he works hard, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he's that great of a player. I don't think he's gonna make an impact. So just because he's constantly showing up all the time, like I think Reyna is better than him as it is right now, and we have to see Reyna we have to see him play. We can say what we want about him. He's not in the 18. He is in the 18. What happened in 2022? That's its own separate thing. I think again, Pochettino was not the manager at that point. He's given everyone a blank slate. That's what he's doing, and that's what he should do. If he wants to see for himself how they are in these environments, how they play in a game, how they practice, how they train. And why can't Gio Reyna be given? He's playing in the Bundesliga. He's playing in the Mönchengladbach. He has more. He's played in high pressure situations in the Champions League, in the Bundesliga. So why can't he be given a shot? And when your stars are not in this window, and when you're playing a team like Paraguay that is 33rd or 34th that you should beat with your depth pieces anyway, why can't he be given a shot? And he will prove, or he will either prove Nate and I's point right, or he will prove John's point right after tomorrow and after Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we can finally come to a conclusion and we can all be one happy family at the end of it.
One happy family. I like that, right? As if somehow we're unhappy. Now, I've never coached an international team before, but I've coached players. I've coached teams. You don't put you try out players who you think are going to have a chance. And again, waiting this long in the window, waiting this long is a telltale sign for me. Right? Again, Diego Luna has just been sitting around. He's been playing on this team for the last year, playing however many, every window he's been playing. He's been playing crucial minutes, starting, been a part of this team. You're telling me that all of a sudden, in the second to last window before the World Cup even begins, I guess it's a third window because I think we have one in January, one in February. You're telling me that this is like a surprise. Reyna's going to make this team. Again, I would love to. I'm hopeful what we see from Reyna this weekend and Tuesday will give us some insight into what is going to happen here with this team in 26. But all signs point to this guy is not playing on this team in 2026. All signs have pointed to that. And again, if he is going to be on this team, it won't be a critical member of this team because we haven't seen him. Why wouldn't he be on this team in any other window? I mean, any other window. There's been plenty of chances for him to be on this team. So now, is there a chance? Yeah, I think there's an outside chance he makes his team, but I don't think it's a strong one based on what we've seen so far. And that's my perspective as a coach. Not as an international coach, but as a coach who wants to win soccer games, whose job is to win soccer games. Period. And so I think that there's a reason why he hasn't been on this team, and it might have to do with what happened in 2022. It might be a reason why. It might have more to do with the fact that I would like to think that Pochettino is in the players' ears.
Also, he was injured for some of those windows.
I get it. Yeah, injured. That's fine.
In season. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there have been. There's nothing that stops a player from coming into a window into these camps. I think we make these rosters, but there's nothing stopping Pochettino bringing in 50 players in these moments.
It is a good point though on you, Ryan. He has had a slew of injuries, so I mean I think it's important to keep that in mind too. You know, like and that's something that Christian Pulisic said the other day. Kid's been dealing with one injury.
I will not mix my words. I will tell you this right now. I will happily we can make a bet that right now that this guy is not making this roster in 26.
All I'm saying,
if he's not making the 18,
he's been injury prone. We've seen great athletes be injury prone and not be available to play. Zion Williamson, well, yeah, I don't know if I'd put him on that level, but you know what I mean. Yeah, but yes, we see athletes that sometimes are injury prone. He's had that. He's been out of the picture. This drama has followed him everywhere he's gone. There's a reason why. The one reason why I like Mauricio Pochettino being in this spot is because of the clean slate. Because we don't have these preconceived notions. I think Greg Berhalter, it was a real class pet situation. He had his favorites, and that was that. So that's why this all comes back to why, and the reason we've been yelling at each other the last 20 minutes is why I say it's the most important that we watch how he plays. Again, to circle back to my original point. So this is why it's important.
I guess it's interesting, right?
He's the wild card.
It's interesting, right? Like, what do we need to see out of Gio Reyna that we haven't already seen? You know what I mean? Like, you don't think Pochettino knows what this player can do? I'm just saying, like, I these windows are they're a telltale sign for a lot of things, but to be fair, they're not the same way that you're looking at them as a fan. Pochettino has enough tape to watch on Gio Reyna from now until the end of time. He knows what Reyna can do, and so we're going to see what he can do within the system here this weekend.
Yeah,
but Gio Reyna has a ton of tape. Gio Reyna has his experience. We know what he's all about, and so yeah, if he shows well this window, we'll see what happens, but my gut continues to tell me that he will not be on this roster in 26.
I will say I don't think he doesn't have enough tape yet because he hasn't played a ton, and I still don't think we don't know what Gio Reyna is yet because we haven't seen him, and he's been injured for club and country.
We haven't seen him on USA.
No, we haven't really seen him in the club either because he's always injured. So that's the thing, and I think again, what I want to see out of it to prove that he's going to make the World Cup roster, I would say, is for me to see what Gio does is he's got to create stuff on his own. He's got to be able to take players on, and he can't. Again, I also think body language and the way he kind of looks, his attitude, again, I think plays a big factor as well. I know coaches always say that. But if he can be a creative player and you can notice him in the Paraguay game specifically, if he's out there and is constantly creating havoc, and then in the Uruguay game, if he doesn't disappear like Diego Luna did in the Mexico Gold Cup game, then I think Reyna's has got a great shot at making this roster.
I mean, 8 goals, 7 assists, 32 caps on the international team. I realize that was all in his younger years, but still, I mean, he's had his moments. He had his moment against Mexico. Like, I don't know if we can necessarily hold injuries against the kid. That's all I'm saying. I think there's a reason why
you can absolutely hold injuries against him. It sounds terrible to say, but if you can't be healthy, you can't make the team. There's nothing to do. I mean, if Pulisic gets hurt tomorrow and he can't play for the next 7 months, he might not make that roster or year. I mean,
when you're saying we haven't seen anything out of him, it's tough to play when you're injured.
Well, and again, that sucks. But there's a lot of athletes that go through that. He's 23 years old. He still has more time in soccer. And right now, it's about the now. It's not about the future. It's about the now. And if Gio Reyna is going to fit into the now, great. But I don't think he fits into the now. And so, again, time will tell. My guess is that he won't do anything this window. He is not impressed.
Yeah, let's get into question of the day because we're just gonna agree to disagree at this point until Wednesday comes.
Yeah, this
around.
teaming up on me. I'm telling you right now, Reyna.
Wednesday we will find out who is right or wrong. But before we get to question of the day, Salt Athletic is an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But question of the day. What is your score predictions for tomorrow's game, which will be posted on social media at some point tomorrow? So if you haven't followed us, make sure to follow us.
2-1 in favor of U.S.
2-2 draw.
I'm going to go 2-0 USA. USA.
Wow.
USA.
Question should be,
you don't have any Eagle Screech on that thing over there?
Is Reyna starting tomorrow?
I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen it
press
yet.
some of the other buttons on that board, man. What else do you got on there? You got the horn. What else you got? Oh, yep, you got that one. All right, that's good. Should really play that one. Nice. All right, you got a few. All right.
Yeah. Does Reyna start tomorrow? I mean, looking here, we'll take another look at the roster real quick. Out of the midfielders, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I have never really been impressed by Christian Roldan, Aiden Moore, Berhalter. I don't know. Again, Berhalter. You want to talk about a charity case? That's Berhalter right there. I mean, I don't see why he doesn't. I think he absolutely should start. I think he should start tomorrow, and I think he will.
All right.
Yeah. And yeah, we're giving Christian Roldan a bunch of minutes too, so we'll see.
Well, there you go. Well, that'll wrap up here our episode number 190 here of Inside the Game on this Friday, November the 14th. We'll be back here again on Monday here on the National Soccer Network. Don't forget to watch the USA men's national team play tomorrow night against Paraguay. We've got a lot of action coming up here this weekend as well on Sports Nation TV as well as on National Soccer Network. We've got some hockey here, URI hockey tonight. As well as high school football in Rhode Island kicking off on Sports Nation TV. We've also got a UPSL, I think, round of 32 game here tomorrow night. Detroit United taking on Foot Ohio in Marion, Ohio. So we are excited about those coverages, and we'll be back here again on Monday, same time, same place, here on Inside the Game. That's Ryan Glinsky, Nathan Wengler. I'm Jonathan Turner. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next time here on Inside the Game. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wengler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.